Hi and welcome to the OCR Review, a podcast that covers all things OCR from all around the world.
The first truly international OCR podcast. We are from the UK, living in Asia and following the US racing scene to bring you a holistic overview of what's going on in OCR globally. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the OCR Review. With the world pretty much still on lockdown, we've been using our extended off-season to really fine-tune what's in our race bag and also to trial some new things. So today we thought we'd talk a little bit about what we usually take with us to races and the cool stuff that we're giving a go.
Yeah, cool. So, thought it was a little bit more than that. So one of the first things we're saying is, what are our philosophies on traveling to races? So are you a heavy packer or a travel light, travel right kind of crowd?
Mine depends on how much space I've got. I tend to fill the given space. So if you give me a suitcase, I will just keep cramming stuff in until it's there.
Yeah.
As far as races go, I just get into the habit of wanting to have everything. So I'm a real, okay, well, I've got one pair of trail shoes, but what if they were to break? I might need a spare pair of trail shoes, so then they go in as well. So much to Sean's dismay, I am definitely on the heavier side of packing for races.
Yeah.
I go light. if it's anything less than a beast, I've got in my race bag, I've got my shoes and t-shirt, pants, spare shorts for after. That's it.
Okay.
Short episode, done.
Although I will just say I do end up packing a lot of our communal stuff. So sensible things like bug spray and sun cream, they will be in my bag.
I made them.
We use them.
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because for us, we will specifically both pack sunscreen and bug spray separately because in the past
Jay's a ginger.
Jay's a ginger, and in
yeah.
the past I may have accidentally checked race bags with things like sunscreen in them, gone off in the elite wave, and then Jay in the age group wave, who's been there filming and cheering on, then realizes that he has no sunscreen because I've already checked my bag.
Yeah. So we've moved into a thing where we actually have his and hers matching bags. So one of the, it's kind of ridiculous,
it's kind of pathetic,
but we found these waterproof boat bags that double up as rucksacks, because we did a race, and it wasn't an OCR race. It was just a road race, and it was terribly managed. And the big tent where you were supposed to do the bag check, they just ended up overfilling the tent, and then people's bags just ended up in straight lines, in the dirt, in the soil outside the tent. And luckily it didn't rain that day, but I saw that and I was like, if that had rained, it had my phone and everything in it. I was like, that would have wrecked all of my stuff. So I got this, so
especially with how the rain comes down here, right?
Yeah, right. So I've got this big bright orange waterproof bag now, and it's fantastic because even if they drop it on the floor or at race sites where it's super muddy, everything in the bag is super dry, and that's one of my favorite things. But it's definitely been a process of trial and error. I notoriously try and travel light everywhere. One of mine and Ilona's first holidays together, we went on a cruise, and her bag, my bag was about 10 kg for a 2-week cruise. Ilona's was almost 30 kg, and 5 kg of that was a makeup bag.
It was not 5 kg.
It was a 5 kg makeup bag that had to go into my bag. It was ridiculous. So I've been sharing my travel light philosophy with them.
Ever been on a family holiday with his family. I'd never been on a cruise, and they were like, there's all of these formal evenings and you have to dress for dinner and go to the theatre. And so I was like, oh my God, I've got to have a full set of makeup. So I had full theatre style makeup with me. And then all of my hair pieces to do my afro in different ways. So it was a lot of stuff because I was told that it was you had to dress for dinner. But
we've definitely worked on that and pared it down to make it lighter bags now when we go to races.
Yeah, you're gonna say hoping less than 5 kilos coming to the race site with you.
Yeah.
No makeup.
Ilona carrying a makeup bag is how she practices for heavy carries.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I would definitely shout out to the waterproof bag though. I once accidentally took a white kit bag with me to the race site. It went in the bin straight away. That was a failure. So waterproof bags are a yes.
I see some dudes on the start line in white shorts, and I'm like, okay then.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple with like the white custom T-shirt, and they've all got their names on. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
guess you don't want this after the race.
Yeah. Unless it's just like to prove how muddy you got. Like,
I think there is
look,
that for a
I've
little
like
bit,
got
right?
all of the
Yeah.
dirt and everything. Like, I worked really hard.
Okay, so we've spoken about like waterproof bags being like a good item, and we've kind of got mixed philosophies on traveling light or traveling heavy and taking multiple items or muling things for our partner. What would you consider to be one of the most important like must-have items in a race bag for you?
I'd say a decent pair of shoes. Like, realistically, you can probably cobble together anything else if you've got a shop nearby. If you haven't got your favorite race sports bra, you can probably get one. You can probably pick up some form of nutrition, even if it isn't ideal. Yeah, I'm gonna say decent pair of shoes would be my top have item. What about you?
I didn't actually mention it in my stuff I have in my bag, but headphones for before a race.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Spartan music in Asia, like the rest of the world, it seems to be better, but here we have one song, that song, that they play on repeat for some reason. It's so like the race we did in the Philippines that myself, Jessie, and Ilona did in the Philippines. They just played that song for like 3 hours while we waited in delays. So now I always have headphones, so I don't have to listen to that.
It was the point in that race as well where, do you remember it looped back through the race village and then you went out and came back and you could literally hear as you were coming in, it's like, and I was like, oh my God, it's still going.
Still going.
Literally played for like 8 hours straight.
Yeah, but I think
headphones
the award
are a good
ceremony was a bit delayed as well. So like by the end of it, we were like, we never want to hear it again.
You guys had to wait for me. That was where I tore my knee and I had to like limp back. So you guys were stuck in the race site for like hours.
Very long.
Maybe that's also why we now associate like the song with traumatic activities. Yeah. That was
just the worst race weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is true. That was the same one where it got delayed by a day because of the
it was the super typhoon.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the typhoon. That's correct.
All right, guys. What is your one item then?
No.
Most important item.
Yeah.
For me, it is actually nutrition. I follow a mostly gluten and dairy-free diet anyway, as you guys know. So the idea of not being able to eat something that makes me feel good before a race or that might compromise digestive issues.
No one wants to shit themselves on the start line. That's never okay.
Exactly. But that has probably gone to like whole new levels for me because I now have to have a flask of tea. I have to have my oats and my camping spoon so that I can eat it whenever I want, and I have to have my hydration, my salt tablets, and if I don't have any of those things, I get very stressed.
I enjoy that you've added the camping spoon. That's obviously been one, like we've obviously travelled to a few races together. There was once where Ilona did not have a spoon, and there was a very interesting moment of her kind of hitting her jar of oats into her mouth, which was great. So good to see that we're learning from these experiences.
Oh yes, we are. Camping spoon is now very, very important. I think at the moment, I'm pretty sure it's the same Philippines race actually, because we were sat.
I think it was.
Shoveling it. It was bad. It was very bad.
Basically, we're just never going back there.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a gear hound, I've got to be said. Like, I like little gadgets and gear and stuff. So I've come up with a few like must-have items that like are in the staple like of my big waterproof bag. There's like a little front pouch, and they live in there because they're my kind of in case of like items. So like the first one that went in is a headlamp. So I carry a headlamp now pretty much all the time, and generally just when I travel around Asia, just because sometimes power outages happens and things like that. So like, and getting to race sites, we usually get there quite early, so we're getting there before sunrise. So a headlamp's in there now, and that's been super, super helpful because a lot of the sites are kind of out in the middle of nowhere and stuff and don't have a lot of lighting, and then you can avoid
never lights in the toilet.
and you can there's never lights in the toilet, right? My other couple of items just with this is so my headlamps one, I've got it on my clutch items. The other one is toilet roll and hand sanitizer. So I now carry my own toilet roll and hand sanitizer. Like I was pre-COVID hoarding, you know. I was like, I've already got that toilet roll, it's mine, I take it with me. And my last one, you mentioned earlier that I'm a ginger, is an umbrella. I carry an umbrella with me, like a little Texan Southern Belle. because after the event, I'm usually waiting around either for like you guys to do awards or for taxis for pickup or any of that sort of stuff. And just in this heat or even like the rain and stuff out here, like just sitting under my little umbrella, I feel very smug as everyone else is like battling for shade and getting burnt to a crisp. Yeah, I hang out under my little umbrella. So those are my three like little clutch items. Yeah.
What you're saying is you'd have been super handy to have at the Sarawak race where the toilets were pitch black and there was no loo roll and nowhere to wash your hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, at the Sarawak
Yeah.
race, so prepared am I that I didn't realise I had like a $3 old umbrella that was a bit busted in the bottom of my race bag, and I put like a brand new like fancy umbrella. Lucy was struggling, and I was just like, "Here, have this umbrella," like Mary Poppins, just pulling out like fantastic items out of the bag and stuff. So yeah, I actually saved her from the sun that day while she was waiting for people to finish ultras and stuff. So it's pretty good. Do we carry spares of anything? So we sort of said about like important items. You were talking a little bit early, Jessie, that you go heavy because you carry spares. Like, is there any particular items, or like, are you just doubling up on everything?
I guess it depends on the race. I get more antsy the longer the race gets. So when I did the ultra, I literally took a suitcase and had doubles of absolutely everything. You have that chance obviously halfway through to come back to your kit bag. So I wanted to have a second of anything that I could possibly need. As the race gets shorter, I guess I'm less bothered, but I'm not gonna lie, I literally pack 2 of everything if I can.
Like in terms of a race bag for the race, I will occasionally bring an extra pair of shoes if I've not seen the terrain or no one's been able to tell me what the terrain's likely to be like. But I say, like, you guys have seen me at race sites. I race in a pair of tiny pink shorts and that's basically it. So like what I have in my bag tends to be stuff to change into afterwards. If I've got to fly from the race site that day, I might take extra so I can change at the race site and change again at the airport. But I don't like carrying stuff. I don't like having to deal with stuff. Like when I've done a race, I'm usually tired and sore, so I just carry as little as possible so I haven't got to fuck around.
One thing I would say actually that I do always make sure I have spares of is plastic bags.
Oh yeah.
No, that's not good for the environment, but races are the one time where actually you just need a bag to put your manky stuff in, and I seem to accumulate a lot of gross stuff after races, so plenty of reusable plastic bags to dump my gross stuff in.
That's
we actually we on the environment side of that, we have been using one of those roll top waterproof bags, and then at the end of the race like that they squash down really small in the bottom of your bag, and then afterwards all of like mine and Ilona's shoes and all of our gear goes in that. So we come to the race site with like 2 bags but leave with like 3, and they're really easy to pull inside out, and then once they stay locked and sealed most of the time, the whole way home. Once we were going through, because we did carry on only, we were going through the airport, and obviously with everything that got stuffed in there, the medals got stuffed in as well. So we went through the scanners, and obviously it pinged that there was metal in our bags, and the guy was like, "Oh, we need to open this," and I was like,
"Are you sure?"
Oh, are you sure? I was like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, man." And I got it and I unrolled it, and honestly, just unclipped the top and opened it, and this god awful, like just absolute swamp ass stench came out.
If it had been animated, it'd have been like.
Do you know what was so funny? Is the guy like just went, "It's fine."
I was just going to say, did he search it? Because a guy in Thailand made me open my race bag and was like, "That's fine, thanks."
Yeah, and he was just like, "What?" And I was like, "It's a medal." And I think I just managed to pull like the ribbon up, and he had probably had a few races come through that day anyway. But I just managed, and he was like, "Look, it's good." So there's a top tip if you want to smuggle anything through customs, just make sure it's
put all your drugs in your smelly bag.
Fully swampy, But the
to be fair, I think like actually getting medals and trophies through airports in general has been an interesting experience. I'm trying to think.
I've dropped a lot of trophies. They do not drop well. Don't drop your trophies, kids. Sean has had to put a lot of wood
glue back
so
together. I just remember that. I think it was Sarawak as well at the end of last year. And there was quite a few of us coming back on the same flight, and literally one by one we went through, and it was like you scanned, and it was like, "Oh, took out your ultra medal." Next person was like, "I scanned. Oh, sorry, here's my sprint medal." Like went through. Ian, "Oh, sorry, here's my." Like all of us with our trophies going like, "We're very sorry," but you think by now they'd started to recognise a pattern of like
everyone's got the same circle.
Yeah. But it was just all of us is kind of going like, "Oh look, we won a race today!" Like, ta-da! Anyway.
But yeah, those
I said that is one of the things. Like Jessie packs heavy, so the lighter I pack, the easier it is for me to then carry her trophy when she can't fit it in her bag.
And then I kind of go, I forgot about. Could you just? And it's always really sharp and pointy, so I'm like, there you go.
Yeah. Although they are
so really,
slightly
you're sharing. Like you're taking the stuff out, and he's taking it back.
They are slightly more travel friendly than they used to be. Like I remember we went over to Ian's and he had one of the old school like trophies and it was like a log. Like the old it was just like
but although I would still say the pointiness of the current ones is really tricky to, like if you've got it in a backpack, the amount of times I've been like, oh my god, I can't.
Just been done by
also
it.
true.
The one time you've had to carry your own trophy.
Oh, right. I race without you sometimes.
Once.
Let's go 2021 circle trophies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'd stand up well.
Little base at the bottom.
But we've digressed. So spares.
Say,
for me, it's water. Which again, nutrition is clearly a theme for me. But with the climate being what it is here, sometimes that kind of race brain feeling afterwards, and you're wandering around going, where can I get a drink? And I'm not really sure, knowing that I've got like several litres in my bag. Like I don't even mind carrying that around at the start. I just like knowing that it's there, so I know that if I need to go and down 2 litres in one go, I can do.
Do you know what? I think on average between the pair of us, we bring about 5 litres of water to a race. Like because we both end up with like sort of 2, like we have like a litre in our camelbacks if it's a super or above. And then we've usually got a bottle to replace that, which are like 2 litres. And then we've got like smaller, there's about 5 litres, like 2.5 litres each.
A lot of water.
Like as a minimum.
Stay hydrated, kids.
Like little camels. What would be, so obviously like there might be some people listening to this who are going to a race or might be doing a race for the first time in it. And it definitely, for my part, like it's taken a couple of years of racing to really like get my race bag in a place where I like it and I know where everything is and I've got all the bits that I need and I don't feel like I really need to add or take away now. But for people starting out and appearing at a race for the first time, what would be your like absolute must-have item in that bag that we may not have discussed yet?
You know, I would share. I'm a teacher, so teacher by nature. When we go on school trips, one of the things we make the kids do is lay out a person for the next day. So not necessarily a one-have item, but a good technique if you're preparing for your first race is literally lay out what you would need
power the
for the next day. Yeah, because if not, you get there and you're like, oh my God, I've forgotten this, or I really wanted gloves. In fact, I'd say gloves for a first time is probably a good shout. It gives you that kind of sense of security on some of those obstacles. But just kind of, I mean, I'm all for a list, making sure you've got everything you need, laying it out, and then you'll better to have what you want for sure than be questioning if you're going to get down there and have something missing.
Yeah, I'm just going to add into that as well, being a teacher as well. But also when I was an army cadet, they used to get us to do flat lays like that and then organize it by time. And then you can like fill your bag up in that route as well. So like, you know, like it comes out of the bag in the order that you use it kind of thing. And that can really help.
That's a good idea. There's been many a time where I've been rooting at the bottom of my bag trying to get
under there. Yeah. and it's one of those, like sometimes like if you've got a couple of like little plastic bags to compartmentalize can help as well. But like we see a range of terrains over here. So we're usually a lot more dusty than we are like super heavy muddy. But I definitely for those like racing in Europe where you get those like boggy, clay kind of race villages that get super churned up, the ability just to open your bag, reach inside and pull out what you need and not have to like dump like stuff on the floor or like go digging down like elbows deep in it can really just help keep your mental game focused and like can just make it feel like you've already had a victory that morning, right? Like everything's running smoothly and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, absolutely the power of flat lay, Jessie. I'm totally with you on that one. Yeah.
Nothing new is my tip.
Good job.
Yeah.
Like, you might want to look very pretty for your first race. You're going to really regret it when you're running a t-shirt, shorts or shoes you haven't run in a lot before and you've taken all the skin off your thighs or your armpits nipples. Or as I found out a couple of weeks ago, ran for the first time in a vest that I work out in quite a lot and it burnt the skin off my nipples.
I had a nipple burn the other day as well. I bought a new vest and it was all light and airy. I was like, oh, this would be like lovely to run in. And the moment you got a bit of sweat in it, it just stuck to me. And sandpapered me to pieces.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah, test your kit, kids.
One of my favorite workout vests, and I ran in it for the first time, and I was like, oh God, I will never run in this again. Like, this is very much a lifting weights top.
But that's where your that's where your preparation, like both your physical, like your actual training, but also in gear wise, that can really make a difference. Out of like both of us, could you imagine race day and trying to negotiate chafy nipples and stuff like?
And don't wear cotton. Like literally, just do not wear cotton. You come out of a dunk pool, and no, I can't bear it.
I don't mind a cotton t-shirt.
Oh, I don't wear a t-shirt, so.
John Albon ran all of his opening races in an old Ramones t-shirt, so
well, whatever works for you. Wear cotton if you like.
Like, cotton is not the advised thing, but if that's what, like, all of my workout tops are cotton. I work out, I run, I do everything in a cotton shirt. I race not in a shirt, but if I wear a shirt, cotton is what I'm comfortable in. Like, I'm not going to chuck on a piece of spandex because people say you shouldn't wear cotton.
I feel like you should, though.
I wear a little skin tight spandex number.
It's fat boy season. No one wants to see me in spandex right now.
What would I recommend? I think for me it'd be an easy to put on and take off pair of shoes for after the race. So that moment where so here flip flops 100%, or like. When I was in Tahoe, I had like a little pair of slip-on trainers that I didn't mind if they got like a bit muddy and gross, but it's that moment at the end of the race where you can't face putting your current shoes back on. The terrain's maybe not so good for walking around barefoot, but you still need something.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Or like wellies as well, depending on where you are.
I
think when we go back to the UK, I'm going to do Ugg boots.
Oh yeah.
Gets a little bit colder. They'll be soft.
That sounds nice.
That does sound really good.
Like they should make like a welly Ugg boot, like a wog boot.
Yeah.
I bet it's out there.
Oh, I've copyrighted it. Wog boot 2020. J Douglas.
I would be careful with that name. That sounds a little bit close to questionable.
I think it's all right. Okay, so I guess for me, like one that I had an absolute disaster with once is there are like showers and stuff on some race sites. They're usually not great. Yeah, they're not perfect.
Showers.
I say showers.
Like
there's
usually a bit of suspended hose. But I once had like a little like 3-in-1 body wash that was like shampoo, body wash, whatever, just to do like a quick rinse off afterwards. And it just got smushed, and it just split all over my gear in my bag, and it was the worst. Everything was just covered in. It was ridiculous, and I just had to stay in my race gear, and it was miserable because like even my shorts that were just covered in shampoo were in a worse condition than what I'd just done a race, and it was just awful. So now I use I take an old school bar of soap because like that it can't split anywhere, and actually it takes up way less space, and also then if you are like a lot of us like we fly to and from events, and sometimes we do like an in and out in the day. There's nothing worse than being as swampy as you were and sitting next to some poor fella on the plane. Using that little bar of soap can just get the stank off a little bit, but then you don't have to worry about like your minimum milliliter stuff. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry about like 100 ml or less, and liquids it's a solid. So that one for me works quite well. Yeah,
nice.
I think that's it. Yeah,
cool.
That's my main thing. Is anyone
trying? I'm looking forward to revisiting this podcast the next time we've raced, and you've been like, my bar of soap got crushed and everything was covered in soap.
Everything was covered in soap.
I don't know how
I'm going to be there with a little hammer.
Just kicking my race bag.
Yeah. Also, like putting holes in the waterproof bags, and it gets like a little bit wet as well.
A little bit wet, so it just gets nice and like soupy in there. Yeah. We actually talked about like trying out gear. So like we've both had terrible vest investments.
Oh,
recently.
9 episodes. We managed to get through 9 episodes before we started with the puns.
And what works and doesn't work, I'm very proud of myself. Is anyone using this as a chance to like try out some new stuff, like in this break, and kind of run around with new things? Or
if by try out new stuff you mean eating cream eggs for breakfast, then yeah, I'm all over it.
A new pre-race nutrition strategy. Like we've gone for oats for a while.
Sean is abusing Yeah, Sean is abusing his nutrition and somehow coming out okay with it. It is the most insufferable thing ever. Like, it's frustrating as heck.
I put on like 5.5 kilos and I'm still sitting at around like 15.5% body fat.
Oh, okay.
Fair. That is not fair.
It wouldn't happen if I wanted it to. I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm just doing whatever I want. And my body's gone, well, now you don't care anymore. We'll do the stuff that you've been trying desperately to do for years.
I'm trying out a couple of things. One of the things I've been testing, I've got a new pair of leggings that have got a side pocket. Obviously with the super moving to a 10K, I'm in a bit of a quandary about whether or not I want a hydration pack or not. It seems not long enough to have a full pack, but too long to not have anything. And I tend to find that the bands for me kind of sit a bit funny. They tend and shift to one hip and then I get problem with my hip. So the leggings I've got have got a pocket on both sides, and I've had to play around with kind of running, doing burpees with a little soft bottle in there. So that's one thing I'm trying out. The other's a nutrition one. I've been giving the Tailwind Refuel a go. So it's more for kind of after races, but recovery wise, I have a terrible habit of having so much fun once I've finished a race and then forgetting everything. In fact, every single one of you at some point in a race has reminded me to eat something or drink something or just sit down, Jess.
Yep.
So I really struggle taking on any kind of nutrition post-race. I always feel a bit sick. So I'm hoping that will be a kind of an easy win that I can just chug down. It tastes really good and hopefully start the recovery process so that I'm not battered the next day.
Cool. I'm trying a few different gear sort of things. I race in a pair of Innovate, which I love, although they've discontinued the Type.
Oh no, that's the worst.
I know, and I've literally ordered the same pair like over and over again for the last few years. So kind of two-pronged thing. For the pair that is still on the go, I'm trialing them with some lock laces on them because I had a few...
I thought you were going to say with duct tape. They're terrible. I'm just duct taping them back together.
Duct taping them together. No, but I had a few instances last year. They have just regular shoelaces on them. And I had a couple of instances where my shoelaces came undone midway through a race, which is obviously not ideal. So, kind of like, I'm going to chase this person down. Oh, wait, I've got to do up my shoelaces.
Could you just, excuse me,
my late. So yeah, I'm trialing some lock laces just to see how I get on with those. So that hopefully it will prevent me from any shoe losses.
Are they the ones with the little toggles that you kind of pull and toggle in?
Yes. Yeah, okay. So you thread them through and then they've got like a toggle on the end and they're a little bit elasticated. Nice. So you basically then just shoot
They're kind of similar to the speed lace that comes as standard on the Solomon speed crosses.
Yes.
So they kind of like pull and sort of wrench down, which is great. Like my very first set of shoes, I had a normal set of laces and they were so caked with mud I couldn't actually undo my shoes after the race. Whereas these ones, you just pop the latch and they come straight off, which is great.
So I was just about to say to you, my Solomons, I wore to one muddy run. I don't think it was even a race, just a run. And the speed laces got completely clogged. And are useless. Like I can't run the Solomons anyway. They're too skinny for my feet. But yeah, I can't even undo them or do them up now.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
That seems to be a common kind of thing with the speed crosses, isn't it? They're very they're a very narrow shoe.
They're fairly narrow,
quite wide feet, so they don't work for me. But each their own.
Yeah, well, this is true.
What's the other thing?
But I guess, I guess actually on that note, so because my Innovates are going to die eventually, I'm also trying out a pair of VJs as well to see how I find those. So yeah.
How are you finding them so far?
Very similar to the Innovates.
Oh, good.
Which ones have you gone for?
Oh, that's a very good question.
What colour are they?
They're yellow and black.
Yellow and black?
Yes.
So not the Maxes?
No.
The Wiz Khalifa shoe.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I will look and I will look and I will let you know.
We've got a whole
maybe they are the Maxes.
Shoes, so figure it out for that.
But I chose them specifically because they were quite similar to the Innovate. So I was like, I recognise those sorts of features, and that's what I like to run in. So similar sort of tread. The grip is quite good. I'll say so far it's been as advertised, and similar weight and stuff as well. So
cool. Have you managed to test the grip out anywhere fun or?
No, we're trapped in Singapore.
Unfortunately,
she hasn't.
I was trying to make an interesting question for the podcast. Jesus.
No, you know what? I did. I bought them when I was in Tahoe last year, knowing that I was going to need a new set of shoes at some point in the future, and just kind of put them away and hadn't started breaking them in. But when I was there, I did try before. I tried before I bought. So I did take them up and down. There was like some quite gritty, kind of silty areas, kind of sandy-ish, I guess. Fine gravel, we'll say. So I took them up and down those and practiced like skating feeling, and then also some of the trails a little bit there. So nothing too heavy duty, but I did get to take them out for a little bit of fun before I got back here and haven't been able to.
So I've heard they're doing a wide toe box, so once they do that, I'm all in on the VJs. Everyone loves them.
Summer, right? Yeah, and they were too narrow.
Yeah, way too narrow for me. I upsized a whole size and was like, yeah, this is still pinching my feet. Like even the Solomons, if I upsize a size, they fit sideways. They're just too long. The VJs came up very small.
All the cream eggs have gone straight to his feet. That's why he's never noticed.
Nutritional marvel.
Yeah. To be fair, have we all done that? I think like the one thing I have actually been trying outside of eating too much and being ridiculous is like I'm running less. And just trying to keep my fitness up in other ways, because I think I've said it maybe once or twice before over the years. I hate running.
Yeah.
No, you.
Yeah. So like playing around with my fitness and trying to, like, we bought our air bike, so trying to spend time on the air bike, and just only running on runs that count.
Yeah.
Not forcing myself to go and do stuff I don't enjoy for no reason. And if it all goes wrong, I won't know till next year anyway, so who cares?
No, but that's a good point. Like, I guess now is the time to try different things in your training and to actually find what makes you happy, because it's not like we've got imminent dates in sight. So
it's a great experiment at this point, isn't it? I mean, like if you were ever in a rut with training, you get a chance now to just almost consequence free, like just dip your toe somewhere and see if it works for you or makes you happy, or you see some results and stuff. So cream eggs seem to be the catalyst to getting big gains. So
cream eggs and swinging kettlebells seems to be doing it for me.
All the kettlebells.
Like, I was looking at moving into different training anyway for like the high Roxy style events. And so this has sort of just bumped that up by a year.
That makes sense, totally.
So we'll see how that goes.
Watch this space.
Cool. So that brings us really nicely into our workouts of the week then.
Yeah, and actually I was going to say, I think kettlebells are a little bit of a theme at the moment.
Kettlebells are in season, So, Sean, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can go first. So just, I don't know when, basically things are changing here every day in Singapore at the moment. So like everywhere else seems to have like set 4 weeks in place and just set a set of rules. Ours basically changes on the daily around what people are doing. So I went to the track to run before the track got closed. Please don't anyone report me. I don't want to pay a fine. It was before the tracks were closed. They were open and then they were gone and then whatever. But I basically went and ran a 5K time trial just to see if not running and putting on 5 kilos of muscle had affected me. And I ran like my third fastest 5K time.
That is not fair.
Not fair at all. It's not fair.
So I ran in like 35 degree heat and was only 10 seconds slower than when I ran it in the UK in summer in 20 degrees when I weighed 6.5 kilos less. I was like 88 and a bit then.
Can I just jump in and say, he was also so casual about it. So like if I do a time trial, I'm nervous for like a week beforehand. And he was like, might do a time trial, might not.
What's the point? Like, I'm either going to run it or I'm not. Like, there's no point stressing about it. It's not a race. No one cares except me. Like, there's no point freaking out about it.
I care. I'm very proud.
I'm glad. But you're not. You aren't going to be upset if I said to you, I ran a time trial and I was a minute slower. You're not going to be like, you can't be on the podcast anymore. We're not friends.
I don't know. Like maybe we could have like a time entry criteria. Like
if you can't run a sub 25, you can't take part. Or
it's actually killing.
Basically, like rather than normal, my workout being super complicated and super long, it was 20 minutes max effort on the track, and I'm quite looking forward to testing out again when we're allowed back on the tracks in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Shall I go?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just working along the order of the screen I can see.
Yeah.
So mine, we did a bit of an order, which everyone was judging me when I was panic ordering my gym kit back in January. But actually, I got ahead of the curve, so we're quite well stocked in terms of home equipment. So we've got a 15-kilo sandbag from, I think we got it from Movement First. And what's really good is that the Botanic Gardens is very much in my immediate area. So it's a 1-point-something kilometer run to get there. So took my little sandbag for a walk, ran to Botanics, then did a little bit of speed work, bit of an OCR mile as per my programming. Thanks, Sean.
Wasn't quite a mile.
It wasn't quite a mile, no, because the tracks are closed. I kind of measured it the day before and I was like, yeah, it's pretty much 400, babe. It's about 500. It was 600. So
it was like 640.
Which I went out far too hot because I was working based on my 400-meter time. So that was interesting. And then took my sandbag for a little carry back home again. So it was quite a nice kind of OCR-themed workout.
Nice.
Oh, that is a nice OCR sim. Oh, well, I'll continue the running theme in that case. For me, I think actually just getting out the house on my runs has been a highlight in general at the moment.
Yeah, we're very lucky at the minute.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that we don't lose that, because that's definitely kind of moments of sanity in the day to just get outside.
On that note, if you're listening in Singapore, just do what you're told.
Please, we beg of you.
Stop having picnics. Stop messing around. Let us keep our runs outside.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's great to see so many people out running. Less so the people who are just kind of out pretending to exercise and not, although that's come down now. But yeah, so I think for me, workout of the week was going out for just a nice steady run session. I think contrary to Sean kind of, saying that you're cutting back on your running because you don't enjoy it that much, for me, it's really kind of made me go, yep, I like doing this. I'm glad I do it. So yeah, I went out for a nice steady run session and did some steady hill repeats. I think I did 4 with a set of 10 squats and then 30 seconds steady up hills, and then finished off steady as well. So yeah, that was nice. It was good fun.
Yeah, I've been playing with my kettlebells in the basement. So we've got a nice little car park downstairs, and there's most of it's underground, but there's one bit where it goes open air, and no one parks in those 4 spaces because I don't know if anyone knows, but cars are allergic to sunlight and water, so must hide underground at all times. Yeah, so no one parks in those 4 spaces. But it's great because I've basically been able to use that just as my own little workout area. So I lug the kettlebells, and we bought 3 kettlebells, and then when school was closing up, the gym manager there let us take some bits of gear. So I just got the same kettlebells again. So now we've got pairs of everything, which was more than enough, and actually snagged a few bits of old gym flooring, so that if we did need to do stuff in the condo, we wouldn't be hammering on our downstairs neighbours' ceiling too heavy. But yeah, I've kind of put together just some little circuits for this week, and just trying to do stuff by time, and trying to make them kind of hitty and stuff. So I did one on Monday that was 90 seconds of double push press, then 120 seconds of deadlifts, then 120 seconds of carries, and then 90 seconds of rope slams, and just did that for 5 rounds. And then after that, so that ended up being with a 3-minute break at the end of each round, ended up being close to about sort of 45-50 minutes, and then finished off the hour with 10 minutes of abs, and just did 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off of 2 different exercises, which for that one was a dead bug and a plank. So just would dead bug, rest, plank, rest, dead bug, just in the basement, and that was pretty fun. And yeah, my the condo security guy just came round and saw me and sort of watched me for a second, and then gave me a little wait and went back to his security. Yeah, went to his security hut. But it's really nice. Just it feels outside enough and away from the house enough that it's getting it done, but it's also not having to lug a whole bunch of kettlebells down to Botanic or miles out or anything like that, and just reducing contact time outside and all that sort of stuff. Although the other day I took for another one, I did like a really heavy kettlebell stuff. So I took all the heavy kettlebells down and then on a like massive sandbag, and I took the lift down, fine, did the whole session, finished up, got back to the lift, and they were servicing it, and we live on like the floor, and I had to like, so I was like, okay, well, a bit of capacity work, I guess I'm doing a bunch of uphill carries, but also like, so the sensible side of me was like, just do like a little bit at a time, and then the other side of me was like, but you've just done a huge workout, you don't want to be doing like 14 floors worth of carries up and down. So then the man ego in me was just like, just carry everything. So
like when you try and do the shopping and you're like, I can definitely
that was it, yeah,
12 of these bags,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so I ended up like walking up the stair, I ended up dumping some stuff halfway up, but then at least I didn't have to go all the way to the bottom. But yeah, so that ended up with like a little finisher of like some stair repeats with heavy equipment that I wasn't bagging on, but yeah, that was all right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all doing a good job of adapting, guys. Well done.
Yeah,
yes.
And like kettlebells just seem to be the one at the moment. Like we did like a birthday thing for our buddy today on Zoom, and I was looking at it, I was like, wow, everyone's got kettlebells.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Did you know that when you planned it, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I roughly knew that everyone at least had a kettlebell or something that was super easy to use in lieu.
I was going to say, once we're all out of quarantine, there is going to be like an absolute gym's worth of kettlebells on Craigslist.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever want to see a kettlebell again.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying them actually. I never really touched them much in the gym because I had like the barbells and all that sort of stuff. But I'm really enjoying them. I'm actually I quite like having like one bit of kit and then just not letting go of it, and it's I'm kind of getting like sneaky grip gains because I'm going straight from like double overhand press to like dropping them down by the side and just doing a farmer's carry and just sort of continuing on. Yeah, it feels like sort of sneaky grip in there, so yeah, I'm about it. Yeah.
So what we're saying is that when the obstacle racing season starts again, between Jessie and Jay, they've got all of like the carries down.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could put, Dave Tully, shout out to you, if you could put like a 2K sandbag carry to start the race, that'd be great. I'd love it.
Yeah,
great, really? Oh.
I'm also keen for that. Take all the runners' legs away while I'm not running.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, I feel like it's been a really nice summary of kit. I think anyone's got any questions, drop us a question. We can elaborate on
100%.
things that we've talked about. But thanks for sharing. I've got some new tips and advice there too. Loved it.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about new things to try. I like your idea of supers with pockets because I've been trying different belts. So yeah, that's my takeaway from today.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
And that concludes this episode of the OCR Review. We hope you enjoyed it and we'd love to hear from you, so please hit us up on our social media channels. You can email us at theocrreview@gmail.com, find us on Instagram at theocrreview, or on Facebook at the OCR Review.
Remember to send us your thoughts, questions and suggestions for future episodes, and please do subscribe on Spotify, Apple or your podcast platform of choice and leave us a review. We've been
Ilona,
Jay,
Sean
and Jessie.
and this is the OCR Review. Thanks for listening.